Welcome back to yet another episode on Riyadh Diaries. Rukeriad is my name, and today I have someone who is a radio producer and a voiceover artist in studio. He's going to be taking us through his journey and many, many more things we should learn from him. Good to see you on my show.
Good to see you too.
Yes, tell us who you are and we proceed.
My name is Jumba Timothy Omar. Most people know me as Timo on the chat. Yeah. I'm a radio producer. I'm a voiceover artist. Basically that's that. I want to say I'm a radio producer because that's the basis of everything I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Jumba, we want to know, because for us, we really, really want to know where you started from, as in your education background. Can you tell us a little brief about your education background?
As little as you've said, my education was brief.
Yeah.
It was brief. I didn't go far with education. I studied in my mother's school. Yes. It's called St. Henry's in Motundwe.
Okay.
I briefly went to Chitebi Primary School, but because my mother had not yet started, she was from baby class to P3, then from P4 and from baby class to P2, then P3, P4, I went to Chitebi Primary School. Then after Chitebi Primary School, I went back to my mother's school. And that's where, I did my PLE from. But we didn't have a center by then. So I did my exams at Chitala in Tebe. Yeah, but through my mother's school. But I then my secondary, I went to Agri Memorial. It's in Bunamwaya, from Form 1 to Form 4. But I think I don't know what happened, but I think something happened. We didn't receive the exams back.
Why?
UNEB had to stay with them because they thought we had cheated somewhere. I don't remember cheating, but yeah. So I went to Crane High School in Atete to redo my Form 4. And by then I had really, was tired of education really. I had started pursuing, being a producer, music producer from like my Form 1.
So you had that urge way back when you were little, when you were growing?
Most people, what Ugandans don't understand is most talents are pushed by lifestyle and by how far they can go with their education or by their daily lives or background. Most talents that you see now are pushed by them wanting to do better, them wanting to try and find something that is simpler to do, which won't take money for like education. And so, because where we come from in Africa or Uganda, most families are not stable.
Yeah.
Even when you see a family that looks stable, somehow they say they don't have school fees for their kids. Somehow they say they can't take their kids to the best schools. And it is surprising that some parents that are not really stable can also take their kids to some good schools. So it is dependent on how much your parent can, afford to take you to school. If they can't really push you that much, and then you see a lot of, because me, I was a kind of person who was always who was chased out of school because of school fees. So that you start thinking of plan B. What was plan B is because I had someone always with me who was so interested in music. So I started joining, and then I got, the passion for it. So our passion is always pushed because of our background. That's why you see now kids who are very unstable families can't even push their passions. Why? Because their parents can afford school, of which the schools cannot provide what their passion, brings. Except if you're a footballer, it can balance. But if you're doing music, if you're doing production, if you're being a voiceover artist, there's no school that supports it here. So you have to wait until you're done with school, or if you're very lucky to access places that do voiceovers, then that's when you can do it. But if it is not that, then you're going to stay the same kind of person until you get to like Form 6, university. Then you start pursuing another passion, which you've not been part of.
Yeah, so you
From
talked
like your tender
about
age.
that person you were with in senior 4 that wanted music so much.
Not in senior 4, from our village. He actually died. May his soul rest in peace.
Which
But
year was that?
I think it was
When he died?
2019.
2019.
Yeah, he got an accident. So he, even from school, for him, his interest and passion was always, being a drummer, being a solist. So it was always about music. And when we started in like form 1, I think Museveni had elections coming through. So when they introduced the word Chisanja, we had started interesting ourselves in music. So my friend and my other cousin, is called Ivan, took us to his uncle, who was then working at Kasiwukira.
Studio.
Yeah, he was called Chiwa. He's one of the best mixer men here. So
Chiwa is still alive?
Yeah, he is. So he took us there, and we got an opportunity to first do our song. By then, we wanted to do a campaign song. It was that time when everything was about Museveni, where we could get money was Museveni's, So we didn't have anywhere or something else to do but really to go there and grab that chance. So we went to studio, we did the song. First, it didn't come out very well. So we redid it at a studio called Songdo, still with the same friends. By that time, they were paying 50,000. So from Songdo, we went to JOB by then. JOB was who is trending right now in producers, like Best Boy now, who is trending. So we went to JOB, where we met up with a guy called Imon, who took us to JOB, and we did our very first song called Chisanja. That song, because we knew Chiwa, and Chiwa was also a brother to, he was called Kadunabi. Kadunabi was...
one of Botambala.
Yeah. Okay. So Kadunabi was the Mukoto Ivan who took us to Chiwa.
Yeah.
So Ivan was connected, was our Gamba Nogu. So we went to Butambala. We took a taxi, Form 1, I think. We took a taxi, it was holiday, so we went to Butambala to sing. And Museveni was there, so they handed us over buses. Because now, let's think of people receiving buses that are not heavy. Because I think our buses were heavy, but when they gave us, I think we got all together, we got like 20,000 each in every basa. So from that we continued going to studio because we had met Imon and Imon.
So did you produce that song?
No, it was JOB that produced the song. By that time I wasn't skilled in production.
Is it on YouTube? Or by that time YouTube wasn't there?
It wasn't. It was actually, I think, one man, Sandrigo, who was uploading every song on YouTube by Ugandans. But I think someone, reported him and his account was put down. But from that time, I continued doing music, even when I was in school. So I would be the one that had, the clue of what studio means. I would take the kids to school. I would write some songs for, some kids. And then when it was time for party time at school, I was the only person, and then my other friends that I took to the studio that would have original compositions done by, basically good producers. So yeah, it was a life that I would also survive on, because me, by writing your song, you would give me some money. Taking you to studio, you would facilitate me, until you get something that is real out of your song. Yeah, so by S4, because I was accessing a lot of studio, because we had started our own there. So it was us trying to, become better producers and artists. So we created our first studio. By then, again, Ivan had a brother who was called Karure, who had some money, who had some machines that we started with. So Imon's mom also put in some other money. So we started our own studio. First of all, it started in Mutundwe. Then we took it to Imon's sister. She's called Joan. They had a big house. They were, university students. So they were all together renting a house,
So
standalone.
are those guys still there?
Yeah.
Are you guys still friends?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like brothers and sisters. Imon is now in Tanzania, but his family is here at Salama Road. Joan is in Nasana. Yeah, but that's how we started. A lot of people, a lot of friends, a lot of motivations starting up. By that time, the studio was called Exerian Records. Then it went from Exerian to Southside. Yeah.
So then how do you cross over from music and then you come to being a radio producer?
Still, as I've told you, in Africa, we changed because of the situation. It's now the passion was for music, but because the music wasn't giving me what I wanted, and we met still some, but this time around it wasn't Ivan that brought in that friend. When we were in studio in Mengo, Epas's sister, she's called Maureen. She came with a girl called Gloria. Gloria had a lot of money. Maureen brought Gloria to sing with Epas. Then I think after that, Gloria, was interested in studio and what we do.
Do you remember that year?
2007, 8.
7, 8.
So I was like in S4 there, S3. So when she came along, we were singing. We were so serious, and our studio by that time I think was one of the best studios that was recording, urban music. We did a lot of songs for urban people. We did. I remember the biggest songs that we did, or the biggest people. By then we had Maro, but for Maro we came up with him. We had Maro, we had Mark Elvis, we had Navio, we had The Myth, we had Nonini, we had
That's the group of
Rabadaba, we did GNL, we did Unique, so many guys. At some point, Gravity. We also recorded, but those songs never got out. Radiant Wizo, Leila Kayondo. There was a guy called Nemas. We also did a song with, I think, the little brother to Daddy Yankee. There were so many songs. I don't remember, but there are so many projects that we worked on. So Gloria took us to a project in Congo. I was like, I think 16. A project in Congo, and that project was to, you see, like how we are celebrating like 50 years in Uganda, 55 years. So Congo was celebrating 50 years by then, and every, what do they call them, parish, region, had to come up with its identity and then produce a song to celebrate the 50 years. So that project, we are the biggest producers on that project. So we went to Congo, Lubumbashi province. We had to stay there, produce the song, and then also do a concert. So we produced the song alongside the Congolese stars that were in Lubumbashi. We had life. We were young, but we had life. So we made some money, a lot of money. I remember the money we ate was like $100,000 or even more.
So when all that is in the picture, how did it feel on your mom's side? Because she was a teacher, and then Oyingi Day in another life.
Now, because I'm used to saying she's my mom, but she's my sister to my mom. But I would come from my grandma's, home. But by the time I was like in S2, S3, I would access studio. So I would go back home on weekends when it is Monday to go to school. So they were all used. By that time when I was in S4, so I would do everything because I was in VAC, yeah. So I would move, but she knew where I was going. It was my first time to take a plane, and we went there. things happened in a rush, So we went there. They gave us apartments. The family was so connected that we could access the president's, palace, whatever it is, state house. That was like, you see, not the real state house, like Rakitura. So we would access it because they are opposite. The home for Kabila by then was opposite the mom's. So we had fun, but we didn't know what to do with the money. But we suggested that our money that we got, at least from the deals that we made there in the 2 months we stayed there, we took a lot of people. Unique. We took Badi, was the biggest filmmaker by that time, to document us. And we stayed there for some time. So what we did is we said, okay, since we've collected some money, let us buy machines that would help us be better. The machines were bought, cameras and what. And when we got here, because there was no signing or anything like that, so I think the girl felt like, I have these guys on
my fingertips.
So she said, okay, the machines are mine. So there was a lot of someone wanting to really be obsessive and possessive and making sure that they control you. And if you're at that age, you cannot control a person like that.
Of course, yeah.
So
you fell out.
We fell out. So I said, okay, let me start another journey. But still, when I was in studio, most of the artists that would come in studio, we had trained ourselves to do dreadlocks. Yeah, so I would do some artists, in dreadlocks, and then they'll give me, some good money.
So
we shifted.
You stopped your education in senior 4.
Yeah.
But because you're telling us you did a lot of things here and there, couldn't you just get that money and you proceed with A-level?
No, because I wasn't sure if I could sustain myself. Okay. And I wasn't interested by then, because I had seen some hope in production that I would pursue everything, I am telling you for a fact that someone can go to a university, get here in Uganda, they get a PhD, whatever, in journalism, and they can still not beat me at what I do practically.
Because you have the skills.
Yeah. So it was what I had the skills. So I said, okay, let me push. But when we fell out, I went with Joan. Now we were staying in a big house by then in Nasana. So me and Joan, Imoni's sister, we went and stayed together because she was also not, okay with what was going on. So Imon came one time and told me, you know Baker? I know Baker, because by that time there was a song called Helena by Radio and Weasel. So we would help Baker mix the songs, because Baker and Nash Wanda were working together, but we would help them mix because we understood mixing better.
By the way, is Nash Wanda?
He's there. He has a studio. He's there. He has his studio.
Because I no longer hear him produce music.
Trends change, but he's there as a producer. So he told me, he has told me his father needs someone to work at his radio station, but he's specifically looking for someone who has a background of music. So I said, okay, since I'm doing nothing, let me go to Chisenyi. So I went to Chisenyi. I met Chiganda. I delivered everything, that I had experience in, because we had already tried out some adverts still when we were at studio. I remember some adverts like there's a liquid soap called Gyra. You know Gyra? We had done an advert for it. We had done a lot of demos for Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and we had delivered them, but because the deals couldn't go through, we had done an advert for Jacana. I remember every time I see that signpost, I remember, these are the first adverts we tried out with. So I had tried Fanta, so those are the adverts that I got. And I took to Uganda and I was like, oh, you did this one? Yeah. But it's, they were just demos. And I got a job there, but it was on probation. So I had to stay there for like 2 months. Oh,
And which year was that?
2012.
2012. Okay.
So I started my journey from there. They brought in a guy called Ronnie. He's called Pastor Ronnie. He's was a producer at Radio 1 by then to mentor us in radio production. But I just had a background of music production, but not radio production. And they are two different things. So I got frustrated. I felt like it was a journey that I couldn't, do because the way they were doing their things, I felt the sound wasn't clean. I felt everything was, taking me back. Softwares that we were using were really, softwares that I had seen and I had bias about. So the 2 months that I was given probation, I didn't do anything. I was just looking on, trying out. Yeah, until I picked up and I started my journey from there.
So
you
stayed at that radio?
Yeah.
For how long?
For a year.
For a year. Then Bovao, Kwe Radio, where did you go?
When I was working at that radio station, there was a friend of mine who is called Mark Mobiru. So Mark tells me that he wants me to come with him because he had some deal with USAID. It's like, oh, by that time I was being paid 400,000, 200,000, altogether with facilitation was like 420,000. Now they had given me a deal of getting 1 million as facilitation for 2 weeks and then 2.5. And that's like 3.7 in 2 weeks. But of course, over some period, you go 2 weeks. It was a deal. It was like those projects that you can work for like 2 years. I immediately wrote the letter. Thank you so much, Pastor Chikanda. Please, Vichy.
No resigning.
He asked me, are you sure of where you're going? I was like, yeah. I'm very sure. In fact, I'm very, very sure. I was like, okay. Can I see you? So they kept on calling me. I was like, I'm not returning. But I only stayed there for 4 days.
Meaning you are doing great at Pastor Chiganda's radio. Because when they called you Chitegeza, you delivered well.
Yeah, I did well, very well. I learned. I got some people there to mentor me. I remember Joski also added on, the pressure to mentor me, to find my voice. By the time I left at Chiganda's place, I think I was the best option to do, the radio advert, to think in a productive way about radio imaging. So, yeah, of course they needed a person like that. And I was young, so they were like, okay, one can stay for more years than the people that were there. So I left and I said that you said for only 4 days. Because one of the people that was brought on the project really wasn't qualified. And then when they went to the radio stations where she had come from, she had done some mess there. So they said, we need to rethink this project, the people that we have on the project. So from the 4 days, I stayed jobless for another year.
Really?
Because I was waiting for the USAID guys to make up their minds. But I would still access studio. I would go to Badi, would make some music, help him here and there until he found his feet also when we found Nassim. And when Nassim was stable, so I said, okay. That's when I got an opportunity to go to Mbale to Open Gate FM. Yeah,
because I think, I get to know you via Mbale.
Yeah.
Yes.
To Open Gate FM, and it was a roller coaster, man. It was one of those places that gave me, I got the first guidelines and what do they call them? I got I got the first basics of radio production from Kingdom FM.
It's in Mbale? No.
Kingdom FM is in Chisenyi, Chiwa, Chiganda. But I got the better experience of finding myself in Mbale. I did everything. I tried everything.
It was a radio?
Radio station, but I also worked for TV. On radio, I went there as a producer. Then I joined TV as a presenter for an entertainment show. Then I joined radio for a morning show. So I was doing a morning show. Then I was doing production, helping also Step FM, then Open Gate FM fully as a production guy, as also a morning show host. So that is 2014 to 2016.
You were there for 3 years.
First 2 years. Then I came back to Kampala.
Kati church kujembalo kwa in Kampala.
We had stayed for some months without, being paid and all that. So the boss sent in a message. He had some issues, of course, but he was paying on time, Bambi. So after that, he said, I'm going to pay per product and then money is going to be cut. I was like, what? We have been with you through thick and thin. Now you want to cut our money? I was like, I collected everyone. There was a guy called Umar. There was Ramo, Rashida. We left. And everyone that left was the best in their position. Because Rashida was the best in the control room. Omar was the best on camera. Ramo was the best in graphics. We left. He thought we were lying. So he sent all the money that we were demanding. Then I came back to Kampala. Stayed for like 1 week. Because I had already got a house in Kampala where to stay. So when I came, he said, they called me at his office. So why did you leave? I told him I left like this and this and this. But by that time, I think he was paying me like 700,000. So I was like, okay, since I'm going back, you're going to triple my money. If you want me back. He said,
Did
what?
He accept?
Yeah, he accepted. And I said, now, the option is, I don't want to wait. I have to receive a message every 25th of the month because now I wasn't sure. The relationship was a bit, tight. So he said, okay. Because we were good. And I was doing everything, very well. It wasn't like, but because now I was scared, I wanted my protection as a person. So he did that for a full year.
And you went back to Mbale?
Yeah, he was doing it for a full year. He would pay me. Yeah, I went to Mbale. I was like a ghost when I went back.
So these guys,
people were like, where did you come from? We thought you had left.
No, this was like you came with in Kampala. The three of them.
They stayed back. She'd had already gotten a job somewhere.
Yeah.
Ramo, the ego. I think he didn't want to deal with a lot of, people with that. But it wasn't even ego. It was about sacrifice. When you sacrifice for someone, they have to come through for you too. And that's what he did. And of course, if you get an opportunity, you get yourself, how am I, here? They said here, I went back to Mbale. After a whole year, I came to Kampala. But from the time I went to Mbale back the second time, season 2, I was always sending applications to everyone from the first day to the last day. Every day, every morning I would wake up and I search for radio jobs in Kampala. Radio producer for a whole year, every day. And I would call some people would reply, some would not reply. Until I said, okay, let me just leave Google alone. Let me just go to Facebook and I just type in, you never know. When I typed in, that's when I saw Galaxy FM was, needed a producer. I was like, all along, I wanted to change some things about Galaxy. Now today is my opportunity. So when I sent what I had done at Open Gate and Step, that very day, Ashraf, the general manager, calls me, "Hey, Jumba, how are you?" I'm like, "I'm fine. When can you come to Galaxy? Can you come tomorrow?" I said, "No, I can't." It was like a Tuesday. I said, "Okay, I will come on a Saturday," because I had to travel.
From Bale back to Kampala.
But I also made sure that the house we had rented stayed.
Just in case.
So I would come to Kampala every 2 weeks for that year. So I came to Galaxy. I found, so many guys had done it, like, been through the circuit of, what do they call them? When you go to request for a job, what is it? Interviews. They had done so many interviews, like for like 2 months or 3. Now I found like the finalists. But through the talk, when you meet some people, I just realized, okay, none of these guys can beat me at production.
How did you know?
By the way they were talking too much about radio production. It's rare. It's very rare to find someone talking about radio production just anyhow. Like when I did this thing, this one day, when I did it, I was like, none of them. Because one of the things that you have to have as a radio producer is because you go through access of so many people. You can't talk about every project that you've worked on. It's risky. People can't trust you that much because some projects are secretive. So I was like, none of these guys is up there. So what I did is when they called in who was going in first, it was actually Jonah Narebo. He was there at Galaxy. He was, taking over conducting the interviews. He was, "Who goes in first?"
Jumba.
I said me. So these guys were like,
Why were you so confident about yourself?
When even if you're the first or last, I believe if you're good, they will notice. They will realize. So many people have had so many shows and they become the worst performers of their shows even when they are last. So it's not about the first or last. It's about when you get your time, use it. So I went in there because when I was coming, I was already singing the jingle of how I wanted it, because I remember I was going to put in a song. I put in "I'm Loving" by Epas. I put in, I think, which other, but that one I remember very well. So in all my time in the bus, like I'm going to say, Galaxy FM. This is Galaxy FM. Then I said, playing your best music on 102 Galaxy FM. I'm loving the way you're moving and you don't know. Galaxy FM, 100.2 Galaxy FM. And I put Zina. It was simple. But that was in like, I used like 10 minutes because I already know the jingle. I just needed the microphone. So when I called Nalebo that I was done, I was like, yeah, how? I was like, okay, let me listen. He listened. He didn't show me that it was nice. But by the look of his face, I knew also he wasn't a producer, but he had appreciated. Like, okay. So on my way out, I remember that very moment. I don't know. The guy came in and was like, "So kondagire ko wano wapanyiga akantu kana." I was like, how did this guy get it? How did it? No. Hey. One of the guys that had come for the interview, I was like, how did this guy even make it to this stage? So I said, okay, let it be a fair game. I had my effects on the hard disk. I had borrowed my hard disk from a friend called Ambrose. Then I put on all the effects. I said, let it be a fair game. I told him, do you know how to record? This is where you go. Then I left back to Bunnamwaya to sleep. When I went to Bunnamwaya, on Monday, I was going to return to Galaxy, to Mbale. It was okay if I got the job or not. So I got a call from Ashraf at 6:30. How are you? I'm fine. So have you gone back to Mbale? I said, no. Please come. The team liked your work. I was like, okay, let me pass by. So when I went to Galaxy, I found 2 other guys. The other ones were already taken off. Me, though. But the other ones felt, the other person who was also on, he said, let me go and do something in town. As you guys do, then I'll be back. Because for them, they were used to, taking a longer time. So the same thing happens. Who is in first? Me. I went in there. There was an ad. Sheba had a video premiere at Amnesia. She was premiering her song called Njala. So they wanted us to do a video. An audio ad for it as, test. Again, I took like 15. He did it. I got out. When I got out, I think the advert was shared in their groups. They brought in Zuli Tams. Zuli Tams said, this guy can do very well. But when I was entering, Ashraf came and said, if you pass this test, okay, I think you're already good, but you just do this one. You have the office. So I did the interview I shared. The ad started running on radio. Now Miro went into production. I don't know how many times electricity went off. He never did anything. He would come back, wait for me. But during that process, by that time it was like 10. But by 3 p.m., Mir had given up. He was tired of the electricity going because he wouldn't do it in a shortest period of time. So as he would go in, I got some time there to speak to Ashraf. I discussed my Saturday, discussed everything. But he was still doing the demo. So he came out and asked me, let me listen to the advert that you have done. I was like, When he listened to it, he said, Mukanda wange, omulimu gutwale.
Do you remember how the advert went?
He was like, Club Amnesia presents Shiba Karungi this Thursday. Njala video premiere. So come and see Shiba perform and so many other songs. Which brought to you by 100.2 Galaxy FM and Club Amnesia. It was simple. So, guy, Juki and Sagala Mugamati, I've already gotten the job up.
You made it.
By the time he told me, I had already discussed, and I told Ashraf I will need like a month to prepare. Then I went back to Mbale. I prepared my people, some. I might be going this month. Then I came to Kampala in 2017.
Fully?
Yeah, until now. Ku NTV. His expertise was not actually in radio production. He was just looking for a job.
Oh, Miro, this is...
Miro John Paul. For him, he's a very good cameraman. Ebilala was really trying to... There was nothing much about him and production and radio production. The other bit of production was the visual production that he knows well how to do.
So, Kati, when you joined Galaxy in 2017, what position do they give you?
Producer.
Producer. You didn't go on air?
I said, I think for like 2 months, then I went on air. I was doing the Galaxy request. Yeah. So I did the request. Prim was leaving the request to go to the countdown. Yeah. So she went to the countdown, I went to the request. Mpola, I started,
Kati, radio production, ne voicing over. Obigatawamu. When you're at Galaxy.
But it took me some time because, when you come into a radio station as big as Galaxy, you don't just phase out everything. So Anel was the voiceover. So I called him and I told him we need to work together as we transition. I didn't tell him about the transition, but of course that was, the way to go. But he would voice, I would script his voices, I mix. But I would put in, if he says Galaxy FM, I would echo 100.2 Galaxy FM, mpola, until, it was 90%, 10%, 80%, 20%, 40%, 50%, and I phased him out until 100%.
So how was the
It took some years now.
How was the reception you got when you came at Galaxy? Because you're from another media house. It's not even in Kampala. Now you're in Kampala. It's different.
So many people at Galaxy thought I didn't know about Kampala because I was coming from Bali. They thought I didn't know a lot of things. They thought I was naive about so many things. But of course, with production, you show what you can produce and then people realize, okay. Because I remember so many people would put me in the corridor, we need you to do like this, we need you to be like, no, me, I'll be like, okay.
But
okay. So I think the only person that knew about my potential was Narebo and Ashraf, my full potential. Not full potential because every time you grow, but they knew I could, do something that is, good. So even the first months, I think Ashraf was misunderstood because I was using so much of Anel. And Ashraf was like, I don't hear your voice on radio. I was like, no, I'm doing it, Be patient, I'll change it. I cannot overhaul the whole radio station. If the other guy is still available, let us, do it, a simpler way. And that's what we did. And so we're here. But so many people helped me. Narebo helped me. Bambi Puli was so nice.
Really?
Yeah, because now when I am a very reserved person if I don't know people around. So, but if I know how I can deal with everyone, so that's when I can, open up and do. So for the first 6 months, I remember every day, Prim would come, call me, come we go and you eat food every day.
For 6 months?
For 6 months, I remember. Even. So she would come and say, Tim, how are you? Come and we go and you eat food. Come we go you eat food. I would every day. Because probably I would fear. Also Mary Ruswata, I remember. She would come around. Nalebo would help me around. This is how you handle this. This is how you handle this. This is how you handle this one. Pola. But I also had a person that had come, they recruited us. They recruited an administrator and me. So we had one thing in common that we came through, the same team. So she's called Daphne. So Daphne would be the person I would talk to because we're the new people. So would, confide in ourselves. Hey, how do we do this? So we would go back home together like that. Until, you get other friends that come by and, boost you up. But the only thing that can boost you at work is really hard work. There's nothing more. Except if you're bad-mannered and then you can't connect with people, then that comes along. But your hard work is really what people see and then start trusting you. The experience was there.
But the work you put in.
Yeah. So, and on, things went on, and here we are. I don't know if I still have more potential, but I think I learn every day to do, better stuff in radio production.
So how do you start voicing over?
As I said, when I was still even at Southside, we would try out voicing over. I would be the voiceover. I would be the one who would try out Pepsi, dare for more. Not as good as it sounds right now. But I think the other ones were like, Pepsi, dare for more. Thinking that it would, let me give you the difference. In the past, I would sound like Pepsi, dare for more. Instead of now that Pepsi, dare for more. That's how I thought I was sounding in the past.
Okay.
So at Kingdom, I started voicing over. I was given an opportunity to voice over, and my very first professional ad I got was at Kingdom FM. Was for Seroma Limited. They gave me that opportunity, and from there, everything was nice. People realized that I had very big potential about voicing, but being a voiceover alone doesn't make you an imager. Voicing over, say like an advert of MTN, is not the only thing you need. You don't need the voice alone to be a radio imager. By radio imager, I mean to say this is Galaxy FM. It's a whole different technique. There are so many voiceover artists that cannot be radio imagers. So many. I think by like 95%.
Really?
Yeah, because it is quite different. Radio imaging is different, very, very different, or even TV imaging, or even doing that documentary voice, doing a trailer voice is so different from just being just an ordinary voiceover.
So what does it take?
Or an announcer, let me say.
What does it take for one to be a voiceover artist? Because I know there are those people out there that could love to be voiceover artists.
It takes you're putting in time, listening to how things are done. Some are natural voiceovers. Yeah. Others, like us, just learn how to do it. So you just learn. You do practice every day. You listen to so many voiceovers. You do the vocal drills and everything that you need to be a voiceover. The only thing that people forget is they relax when they are about to make it. That's why you feel some people, do voiceovers and you're like, okay, maybe you got an opportunity, but it wouldn't pass if I was the one producing that voiceover. There are so many guys, because they settled for less. Somebody, I go to Siwako, and you feel like, man, whose product are you playing with?
So, can you give us some of the ads you've done that have run on different radio stations?
So, I don't know. So, countless. I don't know. But I've done for at least every big company. I've done an advert for it.
Okay, what was your first
Except Grain Bank. If you've been to, as I've said, Seroma, but if you've been to like Centenary Bank, that male voice that is in the bank that says, Tukwanliza ku Centenary Bank, bichi, that's my voice. I don't know if so many events have given me their ads, so many companies that so many schools, so many products, I don't know. I can't say them off head, but I've done so many. I've just done the one for DFCU for going back to school. I've done so many voiceovers for Stanbic Bank. I've done so many voiceovers for MTN. I've done so many voiceovers for IVRs, those that you hear in when you call. So many. I've done for Coca-Cola. I've done one. I've done some. Kiri Soda.
Can you
Pepsi.
meditate a voiceover ad now?
A voiceover ad for any?
Yep.
Okay. Do you need some money? Stanbic Bank will give you money anytime, any day. Come to Stanbic Bank, No, that. Because I don't have the script, so I can't tell.
Yeah. So, like, what are some of those challenges you can point out when it comes to voicing over? Because I know with every job or profession, there are challenges that go with it.
There are two things. If you're just a voiceover, the challenge is people don't value the talent that much, except if you show them that this is my worth, and you have to be, really be able to pull it off as the way they want. So the value, most people think it's just, doing just a voice. Umwana mugambi nawe ateeka eddoboozi kangu nnyo. Kitegeera? So the value for the art is very bad, ugly actually in Uganda. So you have to make it so that abantu bakuyisa mu maaso. Two, the voice has to be protected at all time. There's so many things you can't take even when you like them. Like me, I don't take things with a lot of sugar.
Why? They make the voice husky?
Yeah, I don't. Now I am blessed that I don't take alcohol, like spirits. I don't smoke, which is okay. So many things. I cannot risk my voice. I can't shout a lot, even when I can speak on the top of my voice, but I'm always careful. I know my gauge of how I can shout. I'm so sensitive about people that have flu. Because if I can't, if the voice gets a problem, I can't work. I can work as a producer, but the voice, remember, most people will come for your voice. They actually even don't know if it is you. They say, there's a guy there, I want you to get him for me. They are telling you that there's a guy I heard in this advert, can you get him for me?
Yet you're a guy.
You're like, yeah, let me get him for you. So most people don't also listen if you tell them that, my voice is not good right now, please give me some time. They'd be like, chikube na wecho sobolo chikuba. So many, I will speak for other voiceover artists that don't have quality studios where to voice their stuff. They would have been better, but they don't have quality studios to access them. And also the fact that now if I send someone my voice and I tell them, but you know what, I also have some other person that is good as me, they'll be like, no, they're not open to receiving new talents. They feel like they will use the same talent. Yes, voiceovers grow as they but what do they age, like how, as they say, fine wine. You say if you go to like 40s, they will need a man who sounds like 40s. You can also sound young when you're 40. But even when you're at 40, you get ads that, call for you. But people will definitely go to a guy who cannot sound young and then put them in a youthful advert, and then you see them forcing themselves. So it is a lot of people not knowing about the products they want, or you as a person. They feel like they're helping you to be on their, to put your voice on their product. Yet in the other way around, you're all helping each other. Because if my voice is calling on people, you imagine now, let's say, if there's a concert, and you need 10,000 people to show up.
Actually, I think it's you that did the ad of EPAS. It's like I heard your voice.
Yeah. So if you need 10,000 people to show up, why do you want to pay the person who's going to call 10,000 people that are going to bring you 100 million, and you can't even pay, say, like, at least 1%? 1% would be 1 million. You can't pay 1 million for the person who's going to call those people.
So ads are that expensive?
It has to be. But Ugandans really think, it is easy, chikube mukwa, or but I'm going to call for you, 15,000 people, 20,000 people, I'm going to make 1,000 customers come to your bank why do you think I am not valuable? So these are things we need to teach. People need to know the value. But because some voiceover artists are also naive, also they can find you in a way that you don't have food, and you're like, okay, I'm surviving by day. If I miss this chance, it is a big company. If I don't do the ad, I'll miss out on other gigs. God doesn't work like that. If some people cannot value you, you let them go. You rather do it for free than someone coming to you and then telling you you're not worth what they are going to give you. I'm just helping you. You let them be. So there's a lot of challenges with that. Also, if you're a voiceover artist and you cannot edit your vocals, it is a bit expensive because now you have to pay the producer. That is why I tell people that you come get a skill, know how to produce yourself, so that you don't give a burden. If you come to hire a studio like Recap, you will come, hire your space, do the things you have to do. Then I will give you your 1 hour. After voicing, you edit, you go with your work. Now if I say, okay, now give me like 100K to edit your voice, it's taking away your money. So those are basically stuff. Also, people force some people to do certain things. Now, like me, there are products that I cannot work for. One time the client gave me an ad for feeds, poultry, animal feeds. And when I reached at Big Pig, I said, I'm not mentioning it. The client was like, what? No, I'm not going to do an advert for pigs. I was like, so they feel like, hey, you can say it, it's okay. I was like, I am not. So there are some adverts that you don't do, and then clients get offended. But again, just like they have their brands, like say if MTN cannot have an Airtel logo on their artwork, it's the same way you cannot also, do some, like someone telling me, do an advert for like Echimasulo, strippers. I don't want my kids to get to some ads and they're like, hey, but daddy, okay, you were paying for our school fees, but now, what is this? So some clients don't feel okay when you tell them I cannot, voice over such and such a brand or product. They'd be like, even other radio stations that come to you, and then they're like, you do it in your voice. You're like, guy, I'm working for another radio station right now. I cannot give you my voice.
So meaning you cannot do for another media house.
It's not sensible. If you had the same voice on NTV and on NBS, it's not good. The voice image are like, NTV, turning on your world. Then he goes to NBS always. I don't feel it's not okay. It's like playing for two different teams, yet they are rivals.
So where does the name Timo Pondichat, actually Pondichat, come from?
I was an artist before, but every time I would go into the booth, I would be like, Timo Pondichat. Pondichat. I would say it a lot. So Mark Elvis realized that every time we were recording, I would say it. So I say, Katigwe Timo Pondichat. And that's how, the name came about.
And is Nesim having that same thing? Nesim Pondichat?
No, he's Nesim Pan Production.
Oh. Okay, so what good things can you say about voicing over?
People, I can sit in a taxi and people don't realize it is me.
Really?
There's no pressure. But now, because of, being on the internet and being everywhere, you go by and then someone says, Timo, and you're like, oh God.
Is that you?
Is that you? Sometimes people find you, then they have your ads put on their phones and they're like, yo, this is how you did this ad. Banang, you did this. Banang. And you're like, okay. Oh, remember, that moment is funny and awkward. I don't know what to say because someone is telling me. Now they can tell you, hey man, isoko njogerere mukko katono. Oh. But again, those at a bigger percentage, people don't know you, so you can walk freely. Me, I am not even afraid of walking anywhere. I'm a celebrity. No. Does it? Even if I was, by the way, I'm not scared of going to Owino to buy my stuff. That doesn't. But the voice protects its people. It's just the voice, and then by the time they that is the guy. Okay, so it's safe, it's cheaper. It's a cheaper lifestyle. You're just a voiceover, you go into the studio, you're paid, you move away. So those people that work with you are the ones that know you, except because of the internet now, people seeing your face, more a few interviews here and there. Also, coming from a guy like me, it takes me, if someone is going to give me 500,000 for a voiceover, it takes me like 15 minutes. And I'm done. If it is creating, I feel it's, if God blessed you and you're creative and you can do something in, quickly, it's good money to make. Even if you have like 10 ads to do in the day, you can say, okay, who is next? Who's next? No. Who is next? No. So it's clean money. I believe it's not clean because not everyone has, the potential to do it, but it's money that you can make effortlessly. You put in effort, but I mean in the shortest period of time. Say, if I was selling matoke buli mulengo gwa 200, abantu ne bajja olunaku lwonna ne bagula emirengo gya mitwalo emeka, kale nze singa mbadde nkoze voice for like 50,000, I'll do it in 10 minutes and I'm done and I move away. So it's a flexible job. Also, when they understand what you can do, people will look for you and they want only you. They will say, I want that guy. Sometimes someone can come to you. I've seen so many guys on the internet. They come to you, say, you're like, okay, but I don't have money right now. But when I get money, I will come. So they can wait for you even 6 months. Actually, remember, I'm the one who told you about the advert, so I'm back. Please do for me my advert. If someone wants you, they will want you. And if you grow in career, so there are so many other gigs that come by, mentorship gigs, even pride as a person of being proud of your stuff being played on TV, radio, it's pride. Sometimes the very first time I had my jingle play or advert play on radio, goosebumps. I lost my hair. I was like, hey, that's me. But now I can listen to it and I'm like, okay, I just look there, okay. Sometimes I'm sad because I'm like, okay, the advert sounds so nice. Then I remember about the payment. I'm like, okay. And then sometimes I'm like, hey, Kalisenga, my grandmom was here sometimes to listen to my ads.
She passed on?
Yeah, so
sorry.
I'm like, But also because I feel I've not done anything yet. The things I want to do, I've not even done a quarter of what I want to achieve. I want to go to Hollywood. I want to go to Bollywood. I've got some gigs, to do some voiceovers for so many countries, cartoons and all that.
Let's talk about, do you mind if we talk about the good things you've got? You can mention like 1 or 2 from voicing over. Okay. This is an achievement I've got.
I think the achievement I've got is growth. Other things don't matter really. But growth as a person, I don't want to be like, other voiceover artists. You see, they'll bring you someone and say, "Did you know that guy is the one who voiced over that thing?" And then when you look at them, you're like, "Okay, what happened to them?" So my voice has helped me to grow in career, to establish myself in career of, I can have my own studio where I can do my work from stably. I can have people that bank on me to their voices. The connections is all that I think is very worthy of what I've gotten through my voiceover works. The friendships, my voice being everywhere, it's fulfilling when you listen to your voice, trusted by a company, and then they want to come back for more. It has also made some of my dreams come true as a person. Like my dream, or my dreams having hope that they will definitely come through. If your voice is on, one of the biggest radio stations in Uganda, probably it will be on one of the biggest, radio stations in the world, probably on BBC, on Supersport, on MTV, on the Grammys, everywhere. So the dream doesn't stop. What it shows that what I've gotten is I've got some people who believe I am good at what I do. That's the most important thing. Everything like money, everyone can get money. Some people even steal it, and they have money. So my thing is about not money or anything, but because I am identified as a person with a good voice by some people is a blessing. Because I am established as a voiceover artist, because I see me being put, in competition with other big voiceover artists, it's a blessing. So the other things might, come later, but that is the most important thing. It means that I've worked for something and I am noticed somewhere.
Okay, so your message to those people out there, maybe the young people, the youth that could love to be voiceover artists or radio producers, what is that message you have for them?
First of all, I want to tell them that if you don't have time, please you just let things be. If you don't have time for, this kind of work, just let it be. Because you're going to, people need to listen to your voice more often. So if you're not available, they can't know that you're there. If you cannot produce work on a daily or, at a momentum which they feel like should be enough for them to consume your work, to trust you with their work, just let it be. And also, no one will tell you this, but everyone can be a voice or a voice character in your own way. You can even create a character in your voice that people can like. There's a trending TikTok sound like now.
Sinamani.
Yeah, Sinamani.
Yeah.
So it's another character that is created probably by AI, but it's
everywhere now.
It's everywhere. It's trendy. Kaibanda was just another character who would do a lot of adverts. Katoluama was also that he wasn't even a skilled voiceover artist, but he was a character that you would listen to, and then you're like, okay, he's big on this character. There's another guy. Who's that guy on NBS? Who speaks Runyankore?
Uncle Mark.
Uncle Mark. He's doing a very great job. So as long as you can be identified, oh, that's that guy. You can also work as just a character, not as a voiceover or an announcer. You can do that. You can do a voiceover of of a character, and then you also get your money there. That we need someone who sounds like Indian. We need someone who can sound like like Kachapizo, But just because people set off them, but they're just characters. They're not announcers. they wouldn't be say, move it, all day confidence. That's another person that should say that. He would come here, manange, chizokucha move it, manange, bochesiga, oh. Then after one, bochesiga move it, you know, that's another. So no one should tell you that you cannot, you know, find anything to do within this voiceover work, as long as you can. And there's so many people. Now you see this guy, who is that? Biswanka. He's a very, I don't know, he's a very natural talent of voiceovers, characters. He can characterize everyone, you know, like Bebeku, like an Indian. He can get a lot of money from that. Maybe he doesn't know. So you can do it. It doesn't matter. As long as you put in effort, things can happen.
All right, that is what we had for you today. It has been Rukia on Riyadh Diaries, and I've been with Timo Jumba Omal. He has a lot of names. He's a radio producer and a voiceover artist. He has been telling us about his journey and where he is now and what it takes for you to be a radio producer or a voiceover artist. See you next time. Bye. But before you go, do us an advert, please.
An advert of what?
Maybe of my show.
Of your show. When does it happen?
Any day.
Any day.
Yeah.
Where? YouTube.
On YouTube.
What is the name again?
It's Riyadh Diaries.
Don't miss Riyadh Diaries on YouTube every day, anytime. See you next time.
Okay, so